Welcome back to the Mystical Unknown. I'm your host, Angela. I'm a psychic medium and an energy healer. And today we're going to talk about what is going on with our earth, with our society, with everything on a spiritual level. So let's jump right in and let's get into the question of, is the world ending? I mean, some days it kind of looks like it is. It's like you turn on the news and it's nothing but bad things. All bad things going on, not only in our country, not only in the United States, but all over the world. And it's like you turn on the news and it's an anxiety buffet. Like there's a little bit of chaos over here. There's a little bit of pinch of outrage over here. And for dessert, we just have a bunch of existential dread. So today I want to look at what's happening through a spiritual lens. Because what if all of this chaos that's happening isn't a sign of destruction, but a sign of transformation? So let's start with the obvious. It is a wild time to be alive. And as a younger Gen X, I have seen my fair share of historical events and natural disasters and all of that. And I really think that whatever's happening now takes the cake. Because we're seeing division, we're seeing environmental collapse, we're seeing inflation, wars, we saw a pandemic. And not only that, but we also see AI that is making videos that even us younger people, and when I say younger, I mean like not elderly, are getting fooled by. Because I don't know if any of y'all have been on TikTok and seen the animal videos, like the bunnies jumping on a trampoline, or the cats the one that just went viral was cats that were running over the woman in bed, and they're all AI generated, and we're all getting fooled. So it's like there's a lot going on right now. And collectively, humanity is anxious and tired and in this constant state of dread and overstimulation. And it's like we go online and we scroll and we react and then we panic because of something that we saw online or the news. And then we repeat. It's this never-ending cycle that we seem to be in right now. And there's something that I've noticed as a psychic medium and an energy healer is that our society really feels like it's in a tower moment. And for anyone that doesn't know, a tower moment is when you're doing a tarot reading and you pulled the tower card. And the tower card is an oh shit, what's happening card. Like it's literally like things are crumbling, but they have to crumble. You have to let go of old patterns and you have to let go of old belief systems to move forward. And it really feels like right now, our whole society and humanity in general, we are in a tower moment. It's like the old structures, both external and internal, are collapsing. And it's not because we're doomed, but it's because we are in this time of the truth coming forward, in this time of people waking up, in this time of transformation, in this tower moment. And it's very messy and it's very emotional. And a lot of people are scared, rightfully so. But it's necessary for us to get to the next phase as humans and for humanity to evolve. So let's talk about the spiritual meaning of chaos. So spiritually speaking, chaos is one of the universe's favorite teaching tools. And if you think about it and think about it in your own life and the things that have happened to you personally, some of your biggest breakthroughs started when something fell apart. So it could be like a job loss, or it could be a breakup. It could be any kind of moment where you're just like, I can't do this anymore. Those moments are the moments when we evolve, when we transform, when we move forward. And all of it is caused by chaos. There is some kind of chaos that led us to that I can't do this anymore moment. And that's exactly what's happening collectively right now. Humanity is in a kind of dark night of the soul kind of phase. And it's where everything that is misaligned is being exposed and released. Well, if it hasn't been released yet, it will be released soon. And it's like we're purging old energies. We're purging like greed and exploitation, control, fear. All of these old energies are being brought up where we can see them and we can release them. We can, as humanity, we can release all of that and start over. The planet's vibration is rising. And I don't say this like in a woo-woo kind of way, like, ooh, the Earth's vibration is rising and we're getting sparkly, yet whatever. Not that kind of way, but more in a energetic sense, more like where people are becoming more self-aware. People are questioning systems that don't honor our humanity. The systems that we are accustomed to, the systems that we have lived under our entire lives, are now being questioned by a large group of people. Like all of these people have started waking up and using their voices and questioning all of the things that we've ever been taught. And this collective awakening is what's raising the vibration of the planet and putting us in this tower moment. So how do we know that this isn't just the end, but it's the start of something new? Well, if you look around, you're going to see more people than ever are questioning how we live, how we work, how we connect to each other. People are realizing that the constant burnout and surface level living isn't working for them anymore. They're no longer putting blind trust in our broken systems because they're not working and they're not sustainable. And I call all of this awareness a form of awakening. And awakenings don't normally look mystical or dramatic. Sometimes it's just someone wanting something different. Sometimes it's wanting to live a life that is sustainable, wanting to live a life that helps others, wanting to make sure everyone is okay, make sure humanity is not lost. That is a form of awakening. And I think people are starting to remember what really matters, that their time matters, that their health matters, their relationships matter. Like there are so many things that matter that have gotten lost in this daily grind, in this mindless grind that we have been conditioned to be in. And people are waking up and realizing that there's so much more to life than going to work and dying. Like there's more to life. And that's a form of awakening. And there seems to be this collective pull toward this type of meaning, having a meaningful life. And it's not only for us, like it's not a selfish thing. It's a pull toward a collective. It's a pull toward people wanting to not only have that for themselves, but to have that for other people. And it's a collective awakening that is pushing our humanity to get back to being about people and not about ourselves, and not selfish and not greed It's this collective awakening to help everyone. And if you're one of these people that has felt this collective awakening and you feel restless or unsettled, know that that's okay. And know that you're not alone. A lot of us are feeling it. And a lot of us are going through this right now all at the same time. And we need to remember that this change that is happening within us and this change that we are trying to make happen within society is going to stir up a lot of things. It's going to stir up a lot of things personally. It's going to stir up a lot of things globally before things settle. And maybe the reason everything feels so intense is because we're learning to live in alignment with what's real and not what we've been told should matter. Now let's talk about hope, because even with all of this uncertainty, it's still there. I know it doesn't always feel like it, and some days the world just feels so heavy and so unpredictable. But underneath all of that, there's this quiet current of people that are choosing to show up differently. They're choosing to lead with empathy. They're creating acts of kindness. They're rethinking what it means to live. And that's where I find hope. It's in the everyday choices that we are making. And we're making these choices not only for ourselves, but for each other. And you don't have to be an energy healer. You don't have to be a spiritual teacher. You don't have to be any of that to make a difference. Just being kind to someone makes a difference. Just taking a breath instead of reacting out of anger makes a difference. Energy shifts when we change. Energy shifts when we make that conscious decision to change. And that's where we are right now. The collective is making a conscious decision. And when you bring compassion into your daily life, all of that is going to ripple. It's going to ripple out to the collective. And, while this isn't going to solve the problems overnight, this is going to be how we start to tip the balance and how we start to make the change. Is we have to consciously make the changes in our daily lives. So when it feels like the world is burning, and it feels like that on a daily basis right now, we have to remember that hope isn't always loud. Sometimes it's more like a whisper. And even though you don't see the hope or you don't hear the hope, it's there. And you have to hold on to the hope that things are going to change for the better. Let's talk about how we can stay grounded when everything around us feels uncertain. Because it's one thing to talk about hope, and it's another to hold on to it when the world is screaming at you and when the news is horrible and you're just exhausted from all of it. And when you get to that point to where you're just exhausted and you're overwhelmed by the news and by things on social media, everything going on, sometimes you have to step away, even if it's just temporarily. Don't feel guilty. You're not walking away from it. You are protecting your mental health is what you're doing. And sometimes that's needed. because our minds are not built to absorb a constant stream of crisis. And that's all we're getting right now. And when we absorb that constant stream, it can take us to a dark place, and know that it is okay to disconnect for a little while. Other things that you can do to help you from getting so exhausted and so overwhelmed is you can go outside. You can go for a walk outside, put your phone on Do Not Disturb so that you aren't getting the news notifications or the YouTube notifications or anything like that, and go for a walk. And it also helps if you are very protective of your space. Protecting your space is another way to stay grounded. And when I say protect your space, it means that you need to be very intentional about who you let into your space and what you let into your space. You should surround yourself with people that are supportive and loving and kind, and also surround yourself with content that will help calm you. And take in the bad news in little bits, and the calming content or the funny content or whatever makes you feel better. Make sure you get that in bigger portions than the bad news, and really to help ground you mentally, because for us to get through this change and for us to hold on to this hope so that we can get through, you have to stay grounded. You cannot take in bad news all the time. The world is shifting, and it's not just in a political or an environmental sense. People are starting to look at life differently. We're asking harder questions about what really matters, what kind of future we want to create, and how we treat each other. It's uncomfortable because, of course, change is always uncomfortable. The old ways, like the ones that are built on fear and greed and competition, they're just not holding up anymore. They're crumbling, and it's scary. It's really scary. But this also makes space for something better. It makes space for a big change for the betterment of humanity. I think that we are moving toward a world that is going to value connection over control, and honesty over appearances. And it's not going to happen overnight, but it feels like we are already in the early stages of this change. People are speaking up. People are setting boundaries. They're choosing to be more authentic, and they're learning how to heal. And that's what gives me hope. It's not a perfect version of humanity, but it's this messy, genuine effort that we're all making to grow. The world isn't ending. It's evolving. What's falling away are the systems and the beliefs and the habits that can't survive in a world that's becoming more conscious and more compassionate and more aware. So even when things feel uncertain, remember that endings and beginnings can often look the same while they're happening. And sometimes what feels like collapse is really just the first step of creation. So if there's one thing I hope you take away from today is this: the chaos, the uncertainty, all of the big questions we're all wrestling with, they're part of the process of becoming more aware, more human, and more connected. The world's not falling apart. It's shifting into a different rhythm. And it's a rhythm that asks more of us. It asks for more compassion, more honesty, more courage. But also, it offers more meaning in return. And you don't have to have it all figured out. None of us do. And what matters is that you keep showing up. And you show up with kindness and curiosity and the willingness to heal and grow. The hope we're looking for isn't out there somewhere. It's in the way we choose to live right here, right now. So thank you for spending this time with me and the mystical unknown and listening to me ramble, because I feel like I rambled a bit. And I do apologize for that, but hopefully you enjoyed it. And if this episode brought you any kind of peace or perspective, share it. Share it with someone that may need to hear it. Share it with someone that may be in that dark place and they need a little hope that things will change. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like the video. Leave your comments, any suggestions, anything else that you would like for me to cover in my podcast. Leave that in the comments. And until next time, remember that even in uncertainty, there's always light. Thank you for joining me for tonight's episode of The Mystical Unknown.